Nick Foles. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? My God. Nicky franchise. What can you say? I'm still speechless from what I saw. Brendan Albert is here. I am Adrian Fedke. We are going to look at everything Nick Foles today because you guys can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of it. Brendan, can you get enough of it?
I mean, put it this way, Nick Foles might have messed around enough to go ahead and be the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback next season. Let's put it to you that way. I mean, he had an awesome game. He had the best game of his career and probably the biggest game of his career. No, not probably. Undoubtedly the biggest game of his career. Now he's got a chance to duplicate it in the biggest game of his life.
How much credit do you give Doug Peterson for this? Because we saw Nick Foles at the end of the season struggle going through the progression, struggled with the anticipation. You add in the RPO elements, the run-pass option, and the Eagles RPO'd the Vikings to death on Sunday night. For him to cater this offense to Foles in a matter of 2 weeks to change the offense around, I think that takes a lot of balls. And, my God, it worked to perfection.
You know what, Adrian? It certainly does take a set, for you to do this. But what I think it really takes a lot of humility. We live in this age, especially in the NFL, where NFL coaches say, this is my system, this is what we run. And a lot of times what will happen is if you get a starting quarterback to go down, the head coach will go to that new backup quarterback and say, hey, here's our playbook. You pick what plays out of my playbook that you're comfortable running, and I'll run them. In this situation, we heard Coach Peterson talk about, hey, I wanted to look back at what some of the things he did when he had Chip. He probably sat down with Foles and said, hey, Nick, you tell me what stuff you run, and I'm going to add it into my playbook in a small window of time to be successful. And there's no doubt that's what took Nick Foles' comfort from here to here. And we're going to talk a lot about those RPOs and throwing with anticipation. Those were two huge things that we saw Nick Foles do. And that's a large reason why we saw his improvement go from here to here.
And we're going to get into those RPOs right away because you have a slideshow prepared for us, and I can't wait to see it and for you to break this bad boy down.
I do, and I'm going to go ahead and start to share my screen. So let me know, Adrian, can you see my screen right now?
Yes, we are good.
Okay. So, guys, let's talk about what an RPO means. So RPO stands for run, pass, option. What this means is you are truly having both plays called at the same time. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Because running and passing, it doesn't necessarily change really what the receivers do per se. Receivers can always run off routes and stuff, whether it's a run or pass. It doesn't matter for them. But where it changes is in the offensive line. Because there is a rule that an offensive lineman cannot get more than 5 yards downfield if he is pass blocking. So the run-pass option, it can be an illegal play if those offensive linemen start drifting too far downfield. A team like the Vikings, for example, they are very heavy with reading the guards and offensive linemen high hat, low hat to determine what the run or pass. High hat, if the helmet stands straight up in the air, it's going to be a pass play. If the helmet is low and is moving forward, it's a run play. So when you have a team like the Minnesota Vikings who key offensive linemen and play a lot of man under coverage, RPOs are major kryptonite to them. So the way you avoid getting those illegal men downfield penalties, is what that term is you tell your offensive linemen to be very heavy on your double team. Heavy meaning be a little longer on the double team before you go and get the linebacker. So in this formation or this play, what you're going to see here, guys, you're going to see a double team here from the center and the left guard and a double team from the right guard and the right tackle. Eventually, we're going to see our left guard or center, whichever one gets free access first, is going to slip up to get one of the linebackers here, and the exact opposite thing is going to be here. So that's what we look in the run-pass option as far as the trenches go. Again, you're telling your offensive linemen, be heavy on the double team, be a little slower to get to the second level. Because if they move too fast and they go to the second level and Nick Foles decides to pull it, well, now you have an offensive lineman down the field, and now it's an illegal penalty. So that's really important to know. Now, let's talk about what you key. So you are going to key usually a linebacker or an edge player to determine if it's a run or a pass. So you can see here we're getting that double team, as I talked about, by center and guard. We're getting the double team here by the guard and tackle. Now, Foles has to make a decision quickly here, because if he doesn't make a decision quick enough, Brooks here in this example is going to be too far downfield. So in this play here, Nick Foles is going to be keying Harrison Smith, probably the best safety in the NFL. And he's going to read where his motion or his inertia is going. If Harrison Smith keeps coming downhill, then we're going to pass. That's when we're going to pull the ball out from the belly of Blunt, and we're going to throw the slant right behind his head. If Harrison Smith drops and he buzzes underneath to that slant, then Nick Foles is going to hand it to LeGarrette Blunt, which is now going to allow Brooks to get up to the second level and block a linebacker. When you run this RPO stuff, guys, what happens here is it might be like a 3-yard completion in the first quarter, maybe like a 2 or 5 yard run in the second quarter, and then you get to the fourth quarter, and those linebackers and those safeties, they're playing it so timid and slow that all of a sudden when you hand the ball off, now that offensive lineman, he's already on top of the linebackers, and now you're giving LeGarrette Blunt, Jay Ajayi, Clement 6 yards of head of steam with not being touched, and that eventually is what turned these plays. They look the exact same, but in the fourth quarter, they're going to turn into long runs. So the success that the Eagles had early is what set this up.
Beautiful. This is beautiful. And you got one more slide to show.
I have one more slide to show, Adrian. So let's kind of take a peek here at one of the plays that we're going to call a tendency breaker. Now, just for our demonstration purposes, guys, this is not going to be the first play you're going to see, but I want you guys to talk about it. Now, again, we talked about keying guards, okay? So eventually when you see this play, I'm going to call it the tendency breaker. And when it comes up, I'll mention it. But tendency breakers, usually in every level of football, high school, middle school, college, pro, where those big fat offensive linemen are going, the ball's following it. Offensive linemen, they're not going to take false steps if they don't have to. 300-pound men don't do cardio for fun. Let's put it that way, okay? So when you look at this play, what we're going to see here is we're going to see a pull by Kelsey and by Brooks, and ignore my perfect squiggly lines here.
Squigglies are awesome.
On this play, what you're going to see is you're going to see a coming up. We're going to second level here for our left tackle, getting the backer. We're going to go here with our left guard. We're going to get the D tackle. Kelsey's going to pull, and he's going to get the Mike backer. Brooks is going to pull. He's going to get the edge defender. Lane Johnson is going to kick down for this defensive tackle, and then our tight end here is going to kick out this defensive end. So basic blocking tells you, hey, this ball is going to be run to the right because all of the blockers are running to the right. And in this play, as you see here, this defensive end is going to be unblocked. Now, if you're running the ball to the right, that's fine. You can let this guy be unblocked. But what we're going to see here is this is a tendency breaker. When you guys watch this play, you're going to realize this ball is actually ran to the left. So you're going to see all of the flow of the defense run really hard to their left or the offense's right, and then the ball is going to run opposite. Now, you can do this probably one of every 15 times you do it, because that one time you can bust it. If you get good blocking and you trust your back speed, i.e. you can do this with Jay Ajayi. You probably can't do it with LeGarrette Blunt. But a Jared Ajayi, he can get north and south quick enough before this defensive end can get down the line of scrimmage to make a tackle. Now, the reason you only do this one of every so many times, because eventually this defensive end, he's going to stay home and he's going to get tighter to the line of scrimmage. And if you run the ball left and you don't have a defensive end blocked, your running back is going to wake up Tuesday wondering what play did we just call. So this is one of those plays, as I call it, a tendency breaker. You cannot do it very often because it's a great way to get your running back crushed.
There you go. All right, so getting back to the RPO stuff, because we do have some more examples of it. And even to ask you a question, so you look at the traditional form of quarterbacking, having to go through the progressions, going through your reads, and then you look at this, and it lets Foles play a lot more naturally to his strengths, but it lets him get into a rhythm quickly. And he gets to play without thinking. I think that's the key point here. He's playing without thinking. When he doesn't have to read things and register things, it seems like he plays a lot more confidently, seamlessly.
He does. You know, it looks like Nick Foles is in that comfort zone. He's speeding up his thought time that he's able to flow. Now, here's the killers of the RPOs. Where the RPO is a killer is if you get good defensive tackles who can beat the double team and push it back, that kills you, because now even if you were to run the ball, the defensive tackle has already got enough pressure that there's nowhere to run. What's amazing about this is the Vikings have two of the better defensive tackles in the NFL, and the Eagles did it all over them. The good news is the Patriots don't nearly have as good of these defensive tackles as the Vikings do.
Yeah, so the great angles for these plays are actually the end zone angle, and you can kind of see Foles reading the linebacker, reading the safety, and then obviously making the quick snap decision to get Jeffrey the ball on this occasion. And that's the other thing is he's making the right decision on all these RPOs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when you do these type of stuff, your job as a quarterback is to make that linebacker, or in this case, the safety, wrong 100% of the time. So Foles was hitting on all cylinders on this, and that's the reason why the Eagles are moving up and down the field with no problems.
Yeah. So you brought up the word inertia. I haven't heard that word since my 9th grade physics class.
How about that, huh?
How about that? You smart little dog.
Every now and then. That's probably my word of the day on Sesame Street or something today.
That's that Temple education right there.
That's right.
So let's take a look at this bad boy. We'll slow it down, hopefully, if it cooperates. And you'll just kind of see. Foles is just reading Harrison Smith on this play.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to break this down?
Yeah, and you'll see here, guys, that the double team here on the defensive tackles is what gives such beautiful time for Foles to be able to read Harrison. Harrison takes that one step up. That's enough for a good quarterback to throw that slant right behind his head.
Inertia, bitches. Inertia.
Yeah.
So we got another RPO example. This one in the second quarter, early in the second quarter, a 3rd and 1. And he hits Ertz coming out of the flat. And this is another example, man, just playing with more anticipation. These throws are just allowing him to pick defenses apart, man. Big
time here. And what we're going to see here is one of those pick rub routes, depending on what you want to see. You see it right there from Mac coming in. And Adrian, if you play this again, what I want to talk about in this play is how quickly Nick Foles is reading and throwing with anticipation now. Now, when we watch this play here, guys, what I want you to realize is who Nick is reading is he's going to read Harrison Smith. He's going to see if Harrison Smith turns his head and tries to run through the pick, he's going to throw it to Ertz, which is exactly what he does. So as you see here, this is easy pitch and catch. He reads that Harrison is going to try to get over the pick. That's fine. Quick fastball there to Zach Ertz, and now I'm going to let Zach Ertz run for a couple more yards there. Great job of throwing with anticipation.
And the other thing about the RPO is it gets the ball out really quick.
It does.
And it negates pressure. So that's another thing that Foles struggles with. If you pressure him, kind of collapse the pocket, that's when he starts getting into that backpedal mode. But with these RPOs, he's getting the ball out in basically less than 2 seconds. It's crazy.
Yep. Catch and release. As a defensive lineman, that just frustrates the hell out of you because you're thinking to yourself, why am I even on the field? In 2 seconds, I can't get past another 300-pound man and make a sack. So all you can do is put your hands up and hope you get lucky and bat a ball down.
I mean, there you go. You can just see how quickly he's getting that ball out.
Mm-hmm.
And another first down for the Eagles.
Yep.
So we got, looks like one more example of the RPO. This is about a minute later. So they ran these plays very, very consistently. And it seemed like they ran them even more than the Falcons game. I don't know how many RPOs they ran, but wow.
It was a big jump up. Now, it also is a system match because the Vikings play a lot of man coverage. The Falcons play a lot of cover 3. So the RPO stuff, that can affect the man coverage teams more than the zone teams.
Yep. So here we go. I forget what this is, so sorry.
Okay.
I wrote down like 15 plays. Oh, that's the one he got crushed.
Yeah. And here's the other half of it. Sometimes when you run the RPO as a defense, one of the ways you can stop it is just gamble and blitz. So they bring Anthony Barr here, who's one of the better outside linebackers in the NFL, and Nick Foles is reading him. If Barr steps up, I'm going to throw the slant behind his head. Oh, he steps up right into Nick Foles' kitchen and lays the wood on him. And you know what? From Nick Foles, this is a great job because in the NFL, you're going to have to make throws like this.
Wham! I was surprised that they didn't buzz a little bit more and take those quick slants away.
It's a catch-22 because if you start to buzz it and you start to have the backers drop quick under it, now you're going to start to have the Eagles hand the ball off. And now, again, you're going to have those linebackers taking 2 steps back to play coverage, then to realize, oh, no, it's a run. Now I got to take 2 steps forward. Right there, that linebacker's taken 4 steps for an offensive lineman to get on top of him.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Can you still see the screen?
Yep, we're still good.
All right. I got to find out which play to look at next. So let's see. Which one do we want to look at? Do we want to look at Nelson Aguilar, the little motion into the backfield?
Let's do it, yeah.
All right. This dude. So Doug Peterson's starting to, really get creative with some of his formations and the utilization of Nelson Aguilar. And it seems like, kind of using him in a way, kind of like a mini Darren Sproles way, but not really. But just trying to utilize his quickness in a lot of different ways. So this is a cool play here in the first quarter, 3:35 mark, where they motion him into the backfield just simply as a decoy.
Exactly. Adrian, a lot of times in the NFL, plays are almost all the exact same. They're just window dressing on the top of it. And you know what? When you go and you play the Patriots, you want to have as much stuff on film as possible. So Nelson moves into the backfield here, which isn't something that we're completely used to seeing, considering he's lining up essentially almost as a fullback / additional running back here. Yeah. Now, Nelson Aguilar, his athletic ability now, he's matched up one-on-one with a linebacker in a man coverage situation. Nelson's going to win that battle 9 times out of 10. So this is just another additional wrinkle to put in as you go into Super Bowl week. And then eventually what we see here is, hey, Terrence Newman's running underneath it. Fine. Give me the free access on the slant.
And there you go. Beautiful. And I want to get to another play with a lot of window dressing, if I can find it here. So around the goal line, Doug Peterson likes to run a lot of motion to kind of get defenses on their heels, thinking really quickly. And then he let's see. So I believe this was he started out in like a T formation almost. And then he motions everything out. It was unbelievable. Or what's the word? Not motion.
Shift.
Shift. There you go. It was like, I don't know if you ever watched the Redskins in the 80s. Joe Gibbs liked to do a lot of this stuff. And I haven't seen a lot of this since Doug Peterson now,
Yeah, we see this now. This is going to be a play deep into the fourth quarter. So at this point, the game is well underhand. So at this point, it's not a matter of are the Eagles going to win. It's just by, hey, can we finish the clock out? So at this point, all that their Eagles are trying to do is put as much stuff on film for the Patriots as possible. So this starts off.
This is so cool. This is so cool.
It looks like it's Army-Navy, right? I mean, that's what it looks like, an Army-Navy formation. And then all of a sudden you get everyone to motion. So now you have, again, a man team. Look, we got guys running all over the field. Then we run a motion behind it. And this is going to be an awesome job of Foles throwing with anticipation. You're going to see when we watch this play back, guys, 41, the safety here from the Vikings, he comes buzzing down hard on Zach Ertz to try to take away the curl. And this is something we didn't see from Nick Foles a couple weeks ago. Foles, the ability to throw with anticipation before Jeffrey is out of his break to put the ball high and up top where the kids can't get it, and Alshon can go up and attack this ball.
And a perfect throw, too. Put it up a little high. Let him
right here, you see him driving. Okay, I'm going to go get it where only my guy can, or it's a souvenir ball, and that's a touchdown 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah. So let's check this out again. So look at how the defense is scrambling, and look at what Doug Peterson is showing them. Again, we're seeing Aguilar in the backfield. So you got that distraction. And you got everybody shifting around. They're all moving around. And then it's like Jeffrey's then motioning to the right. There's so much going on here. How are you supposed to defend this? Look at this.
This is something that a zone team will just say, good for you. My job is drop into the curl flat. I don't care. But a man team, this is a nightmare. Now, when you get into the red zone, you can't run a ton of zone because there's not as much stuff going on. So you see a lot more man defenses. It's a great call here.
And they're just scrambling around. They don't know what the hell's going on. Look at this. So these guys have to think on the fly. And when you have to think on the fly, It's a recipe for disaster. And
Yeah,
honestly, they didn't even defend this that bad.
no, they didn't. I mean, again, this just came down to a high-low read by Nick Foles. Hey, if the safety takes away Ertz like he does, cool. I'll throw the ball right behind his head, and we'll play fly, Eagles fly for his Alshon Jeffrey touchdown.
Yeah.
You pick. Who do you want to score, Alshon or Ertz? It's just your call because we're going to score there.
Because Aguilar was covered. The two receivers on the left side were covered. So they didn't defend it that badly, considering what was going on and how much they were scrambling.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's see. What else do we want to look at? I'm like all out of place here. Well, flea flicker?
Sure. I mean, look, here's the thing. This is a highlight tape. So when we're breaking this film down here, guys, me and Adrian are just like, I don't know, pick a quarter because there's probably 3 or 4 awesome plays in that quarter. It just became like, watching one of those high school highlight tapes of, Noel Devine or Sam McDuffie just doing whatever they want. The Eagles put up 400 yards of offense in 3 quarters. This is a highlight tape.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing bad here to break down, that's for sure. And you just see Torrey Smith on this play just lulled Trey Waynes to sleep.
Yes, right here. It's that subtle and then take off. It's just such a small thing, but that's what sells this. You're going to see Trey Waynes, as soon as Torrey Smith kind of starts his stutter, Trey Waynes' eyes go right into the backfield right now.
Yep.
And now it's a wrap. You go hip to hip with Torrey Smith, he's going to run by just about any defensive back in the league. Now, that said, we also saw this in the first quarter. Torrey Smith will drop some balls.
Yeah.
His job is to run fast and run straight downhill, and he pretty much has to catch the ball almost uncontested in order for him to catch it. That's just who he is. That's what you signed him for. That's why he's the third receiver, not the one receiver on your team.
Perfect throw to drop that right in between this cornerback and safety coming over the top. So Nick Foles, that ball placement, impeccable on Sunday.
Big time.
Yeah.
Nick Foles was 4 of 6 in vertical games, but if you look at the 2 not completed, the one was on Torrey Smith, and that was in the first quarter. And to be fair, I think he probably should have put that ball more to the middle of the field, but he still put it on Torrey Smith's shoulder pad, so he still should have caught that. The other incompletion was a throwaway ball. So Nick Foles, who traditionally averages like 4.5 yards a completion, in this game averaged almost 10 yards of completion because he was crushing it in the vertical game.
Yeah. He was also 10 of 11 on third down for 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 3rd and 10 conversions. So they had not converted a 3rd and 10 or more once Carson Wentz went down. So just, wow, amazing the transformation we're seeing. Let's see. All right. We're going to go to the second quarter, 11-12. This might be the last play we look at.
Okay.
I mean,
one of the other things Adrian's going to pull up
ahead.
here that, we've seen, Nick Foles get more comfortable with is just pocket anticipation, moving around in the pocket. If on the touchdown completion that he had to Alshon Jeffrey, it's because he's moving around in the pocket really well. And this is going to be a nice job of seeing exactly that. But what I want you guys to do is watch Zach Ertz here. It's his route running ability that makes this throw possible. Right when he gets to the top of his route, I want you guys to watch what he does with his head and his shoulders.
I also want you to give us a little lesson on stemming.
Yes.
So this is a great example of stemming and what Zach Ertz did. So I'll just kind of let this play go a little slow motion. You can kind of show us what that's all about.
Yep. So in this play here, this is going to be essentially like a flood formation. It's great. It's a great man beater. We're going to have 1 and 2 run vertical routes, and then we're going to have 3, which is Zach Ertz now in the slot, running an out route. Now, Adrian, pause it right here. As we can see right away, okay, this is clear man-to-man defense. And you can see if Zach Ertz is running the out route, we have our safety here is already outside shade of him. So this is trouble for this because all that the safety needs to do is take 1 step to the left. He can undercut this route, and now this is going to be a touchdown the other way. So stemming, guys, is going to be instead of running a true vertical, running a little bit of a bend to get the defense to react to it, and then you're able to cut underneath it. So when you're going to watch this play moving forward here, Ertz is going to start to lean his body as if he's going to be running a post, which eventually is going to get that safety to level out and get closer to helmet or head-to-head with Ertz, which in turn opens Ertz to run the out route. and this is going to be a great job of throwing the ball with anticipation eventually. But this play is all because of Zach Ertz's route running ability. That's what beats man-to-man defense. More often than not, it's a good route that's going to beat man-to-man defense than necessarily a good pass.
There you go. So here we go. You see that? There's that little stem. And the out route, he's got separation. Sandejo looks like he slipped there.
Yeah.
And a perfect throw. So you see the job that Nick Foles did in the pocket there, the little pump fake wizardry.
Absolutely.
We're going to see a better view of that here in the end zone.
Yep. And that really gives you appreciation for good route running from Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz, has taken some lumps and some blame when it comes to inline blocking. That's not his cup of tea. Route running is, and that's a great example of that.
I think we can show another good example of his route running in a second. I got another play. So they were – all right, so look at this job by Nick Foles. So there's the pump. He steps up. He's throwing off his front foot. He looks like he's not even looking at the receiver. I don't know how he did this.
It's one of those plays that when if you look at just that, you look at the pocket end zone we have here, you're thinking, what the hell, man? This is terrible fundamentals. And as soon as, as a coach, you see that guy doing that, you're like, no. Hey, good completion. Good job. Hey, good job. Way to move the change. Because, it just defies the simple rules of fundamentals. But when you're feeling it like Nick Foles was, keep shooting, man, because everything was going in.
Because he threw that ball off his front foot.
Yeah, nothing. He had no body balance, nothing. It was everything that you would tell a quarterback not to do. But it's a completion, so who gives a shit after that?
That's what they used to say about Steve Nash whenever he tossed up a floater, always off his wrong foot.
Yeah, it's going in.
Yeah. So this is an out and up, if I remember correctly. And as Zach Ertz just burns Harrison Smith here.
Man, Harrison Smith and Trey Waynes were the two guys that were barbecue chicken because they were just getting roasted all game. This is just an awesome call in terms of having confidence in your offense. The ability to run the out and up and with not much time left on the clock, most teams in the NFL are just needing it going into the half. Not the Eagles. The Eagles staff was looking around saying, yeah, we're feeling it right now. Let's go for the jugular early. And this is just an outstanding out and up, a great ball. And that's what eventually gets the Eagles, I think, a field goal on this drive, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. They moved the ball 60 yards in 29 seconds. And on that play, you can tell Sandejo is thinking, or Harrison Smith is thinking, they're going to run a 10-yard out route, and they're just trying to get out of bounds. But no, it's not an out route. It's an out and up.
Yep.
And it fooled them.
There's two things that this play reminded me of. The first thing, remember we went those 3-week span where the Eagles DBs got burned every week on double moves?
Yeah.
Well, now the Vikings were getting crushed on double moves. Mm-hmm. The other thing I thought of, Adrian, we talked about this on my podcast that we did about how poor Andy Reid's clock management was. Doug Peterson has won a game against the Giants because of awesome clock management at the end. I think it was the Raiders game. He had a really late field goal. And in this situation, these are 3 awesome clock management opportunities, and they're just great players making plays, in the truth.
Yeah. Think about it this way. The Jacksonville Jaguars had the ball at the 20-yard line with 58 seconds left, and they took a knee. Eagles had half that time, and they went down the field, kicked the field goal.
Yeah, and they were playing the number 1 yards against defense in the NFL, and the Eagles said, we don't care. We're going to keep pushing the ball down the field. Yep.
So I think that's it. I don't think we need any more here. I don't have anything else. Oh, do we? All right, we got the one play to Aguilar, actually. That touch pass. You want to do one more?
We'll do one more.
All right, we'll do one more. Third quarter, 2:51, and Nelson Aguilar, unbelievable. This guy.
He went from being Philadelphia's most hated player to all of a sudden you're seeing Nelson Aguilar jerseys not only sold, but people are buying them now.
Yeah. You're not kidding, man. You're not kidding at all. So this is almost like a Wentz play. The way that he can flush to his right and the touch that he has when throwing on the move, that's what we saw on here, this play.
Like I said, Foles is messing around enough that he might end up be the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback next season because he's playing hot at the right time. And Nelson Aguilar, I mean, his ability to make plays, and it's such a good job here. And when we're going to go back and rewatch this, it's a great job of getting that out and up. And again, Trey Waynes just getting lit on fire. He gave up like 6 receptions, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Xavier Rhodes, Eagles pretty much said, hey, whoever's getting guarded by Xavier Rhodes, we're just going to have you just get out of the way, and we're going to roast Trey Waynes or Harrison Smith or whoever else lines up on you.
Trey Waynes has talent too. So the fact that they just burn him like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
When we go back and rewatch this play, and it might be better, Adrian, to watch it from the all-22 angle, what I want you guys to watch is what we call this is a reroute. So the reroute is going to happen when Nelson Aguilar is going to run essentially almost chest to chest into the defender, which in this case is going to be Trey Waynes. As a defender, what you're taught to do is disrupt him and get him off of his path so he can't run exactly where he wants to go.
Yeah, we're going to go
What
back.
Nelson's going to do is Nelson's going to be able to get enough vertical push on Trey Waynes here that's going to allow Nelson to still have his outside arm free so he can cut out and get out.
All right. Let's just play this full here.
Right there. Bang, and he still is able to keep outside, which allows him to get out and then eventually allows him to get up. You know, if Nelson wasn't able to keep his outside arm free, this play's over. If Nelson gets forced in, there's no way he's able to make this play. It's a subtle thing, but it's a good job at keeping his outside arm free.
Big V did a great job on Everson Griffin on Sunday. I don't know if he allowed a sack or not, but it didn't seem like Griffin did much. Now, he did disrupt him enough here that he had to flush to his right, but the sheer power that Everson Griffin has, it's very hard to anchor against him.
Big time.
And I thought Big V did a pretty good job, considering the talent gap here.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Adrian.
All right, so that concludes the NFC Championship edition of our film study. So Brendan breaking it down beautifully as always.
You know what? I will say this, okay? So the Vikings typically gave up 270 yards a game on offense. They gave up 400 in 3 quarters. And you know what it was? Yeah, let's say it was great coaching. Nick Foles was feeling it. It's because you Vikings fans mess with Rocky. That's what you get. You mess with Rocky, I have no sympathy for you. And I'm not even an Eagles fan. But if you mess with the heart of Philadelphia, everything bad that's going to happen to you for the next full game, you deserve it. And you know what? You got it.
So cocky. They came in so cocky for a franchise that hasn't won shit. They came in. They think, they go up the Rocky steps. They wear their little pigtails. They do the skull chant. They think it's going to work. No. It just set Philadelphia off. That's all it did. It just pissed us off. And, it's funny. It's like they were complaining after the fact. They were complaining about our actions. It's like that kid in school, the bully. He's just picking on the kid. He's just picking on the kid. And then all of a sudden the kid fights back, and he kicks the bully's ass. That's what the Eagles did to these Vikings fans. You shouldn't be complaining. You did this to yourself.
I've always thought this. If you need to give yourself bulletin board material to get hyped up, you've already lost the game. If you mentally have to do this type of stuff to get like, yeah, we're going to win now because – no, you're just going to get smashed. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. They got smashed indeed. All right. That's Brendan Albert. I am Adrian Fed. You got anything else you want to say?
That's it. The only other thing, guys, if you haven't, we do appreciate it if you listen to our podcast that we also have. And again, that's Bert_ANTD podcast. You can find it in Apple. You can find us on Twitter. We have a website. We appreciate it. Adrian, Tony, and myself, we're actually going to do a show tonight on our alma mater to talk a little more about, is Temple getting a stadium, and is that a good thing?
Oh, yeah. All right. Make sure you check that out. That's Brendan. I'm Adrian. Take care.
Appreciate it.